What to do with a dollar. EM Real.
Real crew. EM Real, right back at you with another episode of What to Do with a Dollar. Now this episode is, we're building it, that Airbnb constructions. We're going to talk about 4 steps. What did I say? 4 steps. We're talking about construction loan with the Airbnb. And even though this is kind of going back over some things we've talked about, I got to talk about those 4 points. 4 critical points to talk about because I'm in the process right now and I got to give you the deal, what's going on, all that good stuff. All right. Again, number 1 is when dealing with the bank, you got to have your financials. What is a financial? First of all, we want you to have an LLC. It's going to be better to be in your business name. Just makes sense. Next, you have to have a financial statement. Now, this financial statement is going to really talk about all your assets versus your liabilities. That means all the things you have that you possess, whether it's money in the bank, whether it's stocks, whether it's life insurance, as opposed to that's assets. Liabilities is what you owe. Mortgage, car note, things that are being taken away from you. So those liabilities, you got to do a financial statement. That's number 1. Now, in that financial statement, also financials dealing with the bank, they're going to want to see a tax return. You got to have a tax return. And then, of course, they want to see the income that you're making. You got to have some inflow. That being said, whether it's a job or a business, suggest a business, then you can show the money that is being made. Now, in that case, that's at least number 1 of the 4 that we're talking about. All right? Let's continue. Now, plans. Got to have some plans. First of all, you got to know the size of the Airbnb house you're building. The size, again, 1,000 square feet, 1,200 square feet, 1,500, 1,800, 2,000. You know, I would keep it small. Duplexes size, 1,000 square feet size. Not only that, you got to buy a set. Means you got to have the elevation. You got to have the floor plan. You have to have the electrical. You have to have the HVAC. You have to have the plumbing, and you got to have a roofing. Now, that's a set of plans. You got to have a set of plans to deal with if you're taking it to the bank now. And then lastly, these plans, they cost. They cost. It could be $1 per square foot. So if you got 1,000 square foot home, it could be $1 per square foot. That's $1,000. Now you might find somebody who can get it to you for 75 cents. Or you could just go on some of these plans on the website, eBay, and find you some cheaper ones. But if you go in with a specific architect, a designer, someone who's actually knows what they're doing, it might cost you. So those 3 things with the plans, you got to have those plans. Going to the bank now. Number 3, though, critical, the land. You got to have some land or money down. All right, we talked about this. Now, if you're getting a $300,000, if it's going to cost you $300,000 to build a house. Now, if you don't have land, you got to pay 20% of that. That's $60,000. Do you have $60,000? Those who are listening, maybe so. A lot of us don't have $60,000 just laying to the side, or we haven't done what we need to do up until this point to get $60,000. $60,000 or land. How do we get the land? Hey, I left the education field. I had a teacher retirement. I took that money out, and my wife and we went and bought a lot, L-O-T, of land. And now when we went to the bank, instead of having money down, we had land. We had a deed showing that we own land in my business name. You follow that? That is a substitution for money down. All right? That's land or down payment because you need some type of collateral with the bank. And the last thing I want to talk about is some cities, municipalities, in certain areas in which you're building, especially high-end areas. It could be they have an HOA, Homeowners Association, some type of district. We have a garden district. And it could be some type of process that you have to go through in order to be qualified to build. All right, so in your city, you have a district process that's going to take time. So you have to consider that time to build and to get all what you need to present to them. So you have to do it. Most cities do it online, but there could be cities where you have to get your package together and present. And then in that presenting, then you have to go to this board and they are to can approve or disapprove your ability to build. Okay, that's the last aspect of it. I just want to say, hey, my wife and I got approved to build because we went through that board. Okay, now this is just giving you updates. 4 things we need to do in order to get ready for that construction loan. What do we need? We needed our financials, we needed plans, we needed land or money down, which we had, and you had to get approved. That being said, we'll talk more. Money to be made. I'm Ian Real. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Till next time, deuces.